Here are 5 kitchenware items that you can sell on eBay for a lot of money. The first item are pots and pans. The main brands you're going to want to be looking out for are things like All-Clad, Emerald, and especially Hexclad. Hexclad is one of the biggest luxury brands for pots and pans, and if you find one of those, they're going to be worth a lot of money. This one in particular is made by All-Clad. It is a double boiler, meaning it's not the same kind of pots and pans that you normally find in your kitchen, meaning this thing goes for a lot of money. I just picked it up today at a thrift store for only $8, and it sells for over $100 plus shipping because there just aren't that many of these kinds of cookwares out there. So people are willing to pay a lot of money. But you don't just have to buy very obscure cookware. You can also buy regular old pots and pans. This one is made by Emerald. It is a 10-inch skillet. You can see it's stainless steel. When you are buying and selling pots and pans and any kind of cookware, you want to be looking for stainless steel. It's the material that's going to sell for the most amount of money. Yes, you can sell the non-stick coatings, any other kind of material, but stainless steel is going to be the one that sells for the most amount of money. This little guy sells for about $35 plus shipping, and I got it for $5 at a thrift store. You can kind of see here that there is this orange band. That means it is copper cord. Copper cord just basically means it can retain heat a lot better, giving it a higher sell-through rate and a higher sales price. Now, I know it's very intimidating going to the thrift store and looking at the hundreds of pots and pans that are on the shelf. So what you can do is go on eBay and look up pots and pans to sell for between that $30 and $50 mark and see what brands you see time again. And those are the brands you're gonna be looking out for on eBay specifically. Next on the list are carafes that go to coffee makers. Now, for the majority of the time when you buy a coffee maker, you should sell the coffee maker as a complete set. But as we all know, sometimes thrift stores don't have working coffee makers. They could be chipped, they could be cracked, they could just be flat out not working. So oftentimes we only have the carafe to sell, and most resellers don't know that you can actually sell the carafes. I have this plastic one and I have the stainless steel one. All kinds of carafes sell well. You just gotta find the right one that goes to a very popular model. This particular one is made by the company Beautiful. You may have seen their coffee makers all around different types of stores, and they are very, very popular, meaning when people break these, they need to go on eBay and fight for a good price in order to buy these. But when I listed this, there were 2 listed and 40 sold, so an incredibly high sell-through rate. So I'm able to charge $40 plus shipping for this guy. Same idea with this Cuisinart stainless steel one. You can see I only paid $6 for it. There are just a bunch of models that go to this particular carafe, so there's a wide variety of eBay buyers that are gonna be wanting to pick this up for ultra cheap. And thrift stores usually don't charge any more than $4, $5, or $6 for these guys. And this particular one goes for about $25 plus shipping. And I believe last time I checked, I have sold over 30 of these in the last couple of years. Now, the third item is probably something you don't really assume has a lot of value on eBay, but it is pizzelle makers. Pizzelle makers, for some reason, just go really well on eBay, especially if they're vintage and they're very high quality. You can see here, I only paid $9 for this particular one made by Villaware. It is the 5000 series, and this thing goes for about $60 plus shipping. And when I listed this, there were only 4 listed, but over 60 sold. So yeah, this thing goes for a lot of money and it sells very, very quickly. And it kind of goes into something I wanted to talk about with kitchenware specifically, and it's that there are a lot of people who are hobbyists with cooking, with things like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and people just wanting to better themselves and getting healthier. They're going to be spending a lot of time in the kitchen and they want to spice things up, so they end up buying very obscure kitchen items like that pizzelle maker. That pizzelle maker is actually one of the cheaper ones that I find. A couple weeks ago, I actually sold a pizzelle maker for over $200 plus shipping, which is just incredible, and I only paid $8 for it at a thrift store. Now, I'm not going to sit here and explain why pizzelle makers go for a lot, because to be honest, I have no idea. To be honest, also, I don't even know what a pizzelle is. So I can't be one to say why they're worth so much on eBay. But the only reason why I do know they're worth so much on eBay is because when I saw my first one for the first time at a thrift store, I didn't just walk by it assuming that it wasn't going to be worth anything. I looked at it, I picked it up, felt that it was heavy, and I looked it up and I found out that there is a whole world of small kitchen appliances that sell for a lot of money on eBay. And now kitchenware has become my single best-selling category, where I make thousands upon thousands of dollars per month selling things like this. Now, people usually have a hard time testing these, but it's really not that bad. Most thrift stores will have a testing station with an outlet, and an outlet is all you're going to need for something like this. You just have to plug it in and wait for it to heat up. Because this is vintage and it's very high quality, it's only going to take 2 minutes maximum to heat up. So while you're waiting for it to heat up, you can go to other sections of the thrift store and try to find some more money. And then when you come back, you can see whether or not this thing works. I have sold about 15 pizzelle makers, and every single time I have found one, it has worked. So I can safely say that, these are not a high risk, high reward situation. These are a low risk, high reward item. Number 4 on the list are food processor parts. Now, if you follow me for any amount of time, you know my single best selling item are actually food processor parts. I make on average about $3,000 a month just from food processor parts, not kitchenware as a whole, but just parts that go to food processors. I sell everything from the bowls to the lids to the blades to the pushers to sometimes the motors. Lots of people want those food processor parts, and so they're willing to pay a lot of money for them. And the reason for that is very simple. Why would you pay over $100 for a brand new food processor when you can just go on eBay and buy this Wolfgang Puck food processor part that goes to your exact model for $25? You're basically asking yourself, do I want to pay $25 or do I want to pay $100? Obviously, you want to pay the $25. And so stack that up over different models and different parts, and I'm able to make consistent money with selling just these little parts. Now, food processors can get a little bit pricey at thrift stores. Thrift stores know that these things are valuable, so usually you're going to be paying anywhere between $15 and $50 for food processors. However, looking up whether or not it's worth buying is very easy. You just have to know the model number of the food processor itself, which you just look on the underside of the motor and it will tell you. And then when you go into the search bar, you type in that model number followed by the part. This, for example, is a bowl. So you just type in Wolfgang Puck, whatever the model number is, and then the bowl, and you look through the sell-through rate. If the sell-through rate's good, then you know you can sell the bowl. And then you do that with the other parts, and then you'll find out whether or not the entirety of the item is worth getting. Sometimes I buy food processor parts knowing that only the lid, the pusher, and the blade sell for anything, but the bowl is not worth anything, so I don't sell it. But most of the time, if one part sells, all the other parts are gonna sell. I make literally thousands of dollars doing this, and it's so easy, so you should as well. The last item on the list are coffee makers, but more specifically smaller coffee makers. We all know that the big stainless steel multifunctional coffee makers sell really well, like that Breville Barista. That sells really well, but people still buy very small coffee makers for multiple reasons. When I was in college, I had this exact Cuisinart coffee maker in my dorm because it was small enough to fit on my desk, and it made 4 cups of coffee, which is about what I drank throughout the day, or when I was pulling an all-nighter. You can see I only paid $6 for this coffee maker, and it sells for about $25 plus shipping on over a 100% sell-through rate. Now, I know I say that my best-selling items are food processor parts, but I looked it up. This is the 3rd best-selling item in my entire store's history. I have sold over 40 of these Cuisinart little baby coffee makers. They don't just make them in this color, they also have a lot of other colors, and I've sold all of them. But the entire point is you don't just have to sell the big, bulky, flashy items to make a lot of money. You can also buy these little ones that go for a lot of money as well. $25 plus shipping is not a life-changing amount of money, but because I sold 40 of them, I've made over $1,000 just on this SKU alone. And I've been able to consistently pick this little guy up about 2 to 3 times a week at my thrift stores. Now, I know Cuisinart for my particular region is very, very high. The Cuisinart headquarters are actually in my state, so I have access to Cuisinart products probably more than you. But you just need to look up what brands were founded in your state and go look for them, because you could probably find a lot of vintage stuff there. Testing coffee makers are really, really easy. People like to overcomplicate things. You don't actually have to make coffee. You just have to put water in it, see if it heats up, see if it's leaking anywhere, and then you're all good to go.